make it out this far, one thing is for certain. There ain't nothing like that boat ride. And we're in the deep water now.
What about the rematch now with all the chips on the line for Tampa?
One of the things they had on their side last year was luck.
And if the walls start to close in, that's when it becomes compelling.
They really need to also play well on defense.
Everybody remember this unit. This defense is the reason the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl.
You can say what you want about us. We know who we are.
Grave digger! Grave digger!
Out here, the tide can change just like that.
With 4 Buccaneers all over him.
One slip up, and you just might sink.
Hey, let's go, man. We need to play right here.
And Hurts is sacked.
Every time you see me, you got to throw it.
Another blitz, and it's White.
He better not throw it.
End zone and picked off. Look out.
Real grave diggers.
Oh, my goodness. Raheem Nunez Rocha.
Hey, let's ride now. Woo. Let's go, man. That's how you get aggressive with them over there, man. It's football, man. I'm going to roll the ball on their ass.
And it's intercepted. Jason Pierre-Paul.
I'll talk about our bill rights.
Pressure from Barry. Ball is loose. His defense comes up with a sack.
Let's go.
When you see that boat coming, it's already too late.
Go to boat. Go to boat. Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Because we're bringing the whole crew. And today, we roll.
Hey, boy, ain't nothing like that boat ride.
Raise the flags.
What's up, everybody? This is Blake Anthony right here on NSPN Live. And we got a special edition. We got none other than Deshun and Miss Ruth here. They waiting in the lobby. We got all types of fun goodies going on here because so much has happened in such a short, such a short weekend. All these high-flying games from week 18 to wild card weekend to divisional round. You gotta love football. I think Ruth said it best on her Twitter page. She loves football because this weekend has been insane. 3 games with game-winning field goals, overtime. What? This is what you asked for. Are you not entertained? But before I entertain you and we get into all this high-flying conversation, I got to go to what I put up on the page on social media with the Mike Evans 8 for 8 giveaway for you, all you people that gave your money to the Mike Evans Foundation, for all those kids out there. So I want to get into that because when we start rolling into this football conversation, I just want to not forget it. So without further ado, let me pull this up here. If you don't remember, that is it right there. And then on top of that, I'm going to play you right now the drawing. Give me a second. Hold on. Who will it be? Who will it be? That's Mr. Sean Seattle? I'm going to have to ask Ruth on this one. What did Deshaun? I have to pronounce that one. But Mr. Sean, you're the winner of the Mike Evans jersey, black XL jersey. I think I got your contact info. I think you gave your number, and I think I got you on the social media. So I'll make sure to reach out to you and get that to you, get your address and send that out. But since speaking of send it out, I'm going to send in none other than the heavy hitters themselves, Ruth the Truth, and my man, Deshaun Tisdale, Coach T's 411. What's going on, y'all?
Hey, what's up, Blake?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Let's talk some football.
What's up, Ruth? What's up, Ruth? How we doing?
I'm doing well.
Absolutely.
Tough day yesterday. Still a little heartbroken about the situation, but I'm ready to break things down.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It ain't nothing to it but to do it, Blake. I mean, what a day. Look, when you're watching it online, all you can see was that sea of red. I felt like, fans were there. Now, I'm getting some mixed reviews from people that was, in the stadium. They told me about some early exits, some, Atlanta Falcons style exits and stuff like that, early third quarter. But I was like, no. Any true Buccaneer fans, we was going to stay in the ship until it go down. So definitely an opportunity to come back. And I mean, what a game. If you didn't have Tom Brady at the helm, with showing you that the possibility of coming back in the fourth quarter when you're down 27-3. I mean, who else, would you have? I mean, defense showed up. I mean, everything that you could ask for. What else could you want but that kick, not to go in and to go to overtime?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm kind of surprised when you mentioned that there were some fans that were making the Atlanta exit, because they should have known better. With Brady at the helm, it doesn't matter down 27 or down 23 at the half. It really doesn't matter. I mean, he's come back from so much more in a Super Bowl win, like over Atlanta. Come on, like we've seen him with that formula before. So those fans should have stuck around because they missed a hell of an ending. But I mean, it didn't work out in their favor, but that leads into a lot of questions for the Buccaneers in this offseason. So there's going to be a lot of free agents that are going to be up in the air. I mean, Jason Light did an excellent job bringing back all 22 Super Bowl starters last season, but that's definitely not going to be the case this time around, because I think that's probably going to be nearly impossible with the amount of money that they have to spread around amongst the roster. So I'm excited to see how the Buccaneers are going to look next season. And I just took some time to watch all the press releases from Rob Gronkowski, from Ryan Jensen, from Bruce Arians, and how they're feeling the day after such a disappointing loss. So I'm interested to see what you guys think on some of the takes that they have discussed.
Well, speaking of that, I don't know if you saw it or not, Deshun. Let's play what Ryan Jensen and Bruce Arians had to say. Check it out.
Yeah, it's who you are. I mean, no regrets. And I think everybody did get, going back looking at it, we didn't have, everybody got the call. I was wrong about that. They all got the call. We had Sue come up the middle. We got to cover better in that situation when we're going after the quarterback. They don't need like possibly 12 yards for that field goal. So I don't question that call whatsoever. But when we do that, we got to get to the quarterback.
It's been a crazy ride. Obviously, last year, winning the Super Bowl and with COVID, I mean, it's just 20 years from now when you look back at, you get together with this group of guys and you look back of what we went through, the last 2 years with battling COVID, with, Tom, with winning a Super Bowl, with, just this last game yesterday, it's just crazy. But yeah, it's amazing, getting to that mountaintop, and staying there is difficult, and that's this league. That's why, you don't see, back-to-back, champions all that often. It's very, very rare. And, getting to that mountaintop, everybody's always trying to get there. And when you're there all year, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And, that's what we got all year. And I'm proud of everybody, especially in my room, answering the bell the best of their ability and kicking butt all year.
Man, for Ryan Jensen's sake, I really hope Brady does not retire. I think Ryan's a little nervous more than maybe any of the Buccaneers. Like, who's gonna have their hands close to my jump going into next season? Like, this is nerve-wracking to me. I'd rather have the go with somebody who knows what they're doing, someone who I already got comfortable playing with, who I won a Super Bowl with, and that could totally change going into next season. And I feel bad for Ryan.
So, Ruth, you're saying that you believe that Jensen just feels comfortable with Tom Brady playing by his children. He's kind of comfortable there.
He trusts him. He's the greatest.
Clarity. I just was, just the clarity. But hey, listen, I think listen, because if that's the case, I think we can all feel what Ryan Jensen is feeling in this situation.
Sticking his hands on the booty.
I think we can all feel what Ryan Jensen is feeling in this situation about Tom Brady, but
it's got to get him a little nervous,
It probably does. I mean, all seriousness, we know Tom is going to normally be in gun majority of the time, but I think the second day of BA and a lot of the players getting a chance to look at just what was really coming out. At first day when BA says, hey, hey, we were at a zero. We had a zero blitz on the last one, and he doesn't know why the pressure didn't get there. He's really thinking, people didn't go. At that, I felt like the last two plays looked like they were zero blitzes, but to be honest with you, it's probably a 2-man on that first one with some more of a zone blitz or something like that underneath it. But the last one was definitely a 0. Once again, this is just something from a scheme standpoint that you never can. I think what BA was trying to allude to from a coaching perspective was you do not get mad at a blitzing team when you blitz and get caught. When you blitz and you don't get there. If you live by it, you die by it. And that's the part of the no risk it, no biscuit mentality. I think that's what the coaching staff is. And anyone that picks up Todd Bowles from a defensive perspective, even though, today as Tampa fans, we may be sore about it, but if you pick up Todd Bowles, you will want all the exotic blitzes, you will want all the pressures, you will want that, and that's what, you're going to get when you get a Todd Bowles type defense. I'm not mad at that. As far as Jensen, Ruth, I think he's another player that, the number's high on him, right? If you had to have a rookie come in or some inexperienced person, I would want a veteran center that's just a beast, an animal with all positive words, football affirmations, meanings to those words for him. This guy is just a dog, if you will, in your trenches, and that's what you want. So if you don't have Tom Brady, and I'm pretty sure it won't be Blaine Gabbert, it'll probably be Trask's time to shine. You'd want, a stud in front of him, if you will, a veteran that knows everything and being able to kind of coach a young quarterback through some of the coverages and things of that nature to kind of bring him through. Well, whether or not Trask is that person, I don't know. I'm sure we can get into it. How many other people do you guys foresee? Because that's just Jensen's conversation, right? Did you guys by any chance catch JPP's conversation on whether he was going to come back?
I did not hear his. I only got to Ryan Jensen, Rob Gronkowski, and BA. But please enlighten me. What did JPP have to say?
JPP made it very clear that his decision would come after his surgery. Now, for everyone out there in the land, if you're not aware, what happens is, yes, he's on he just has the contract with us for this season, right? But that's through his injury. So that contract is going all the way to the summertime anyway. And what happens is, so he's covered under the Bucs. So he's going to, basically use his medical coverage with the Bucs, get his surgery. And we know he's been injured all season. And yes, he's tough, but he's at that point and at that age that, from a team, you can't put a 8 to 10 plus on him, an ailing outside linebacker, with what the production is. Production definitely was at a drop or dip off this year. And I don't know that it will ever go back with, Father Time at some point catching up with players. I believe he's already 33. He'll be 34 this before we sign, by time if we were to re-sign him. So we're talking about a 34-year-old outside linebacker with he's been already so blessed with the number of injuries that he's sustained on and off the field to still be able to play that I don't know he fits the budget for Tampa, as Ruth alluded to previously, as far as being able to afford him. And we're going to need to sign Whitehead. We're going to need to sign him. He's shown that he's a phenomenal secondary player. Yes. So he's definitely going to get signed, or he'll walk. If he hits the market, he's golden,
Yeah.
Definitely. Since we're talking about contracts, I can pull up who all the 2022 free agents will be. Look at this list here. It's a pretty extensive list, isn't it? Starting with the top with Chris Godwin, JPP, Ryan Jensen, Sue, Rob Gronkowski, Golston, Fournette, Howard, Gabbert, Jones, Sherman, Stinney, McClendon, Giovanni Bernard, Minter, Wells, Carlton, David. That's going to be a big one. Pierre Desir. A lot of these guys are in practice.
Don't worry. Yeah. We can go with that one.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
Desir and Disaster. We're good on the both of them.
No, but just looking at that list, man, we can anticipate a whole different roster going into the next season for the Buccaneers. And as Bruce Arians mentioned in his press conference, it's not about rebuilding. He's not about the Buccaneers going into a rebuild next season if Tom Brady were to retire. It's about reloading. So it's going to be interesting how the front office handles all those free agents signings and who they're going to draft. Because, I mean, they've drafted well the past couple seasons. So I have some faith that they'll be able to, I guess, stack up the roster a little bit when the draft comes around. But, I mean, that's a long list of free agents. So I would hate to be Jason Light right now.
Well, I think Greg Allman posted on Twitter earlier today, and I just had to chime in because it's a really a part in the game that got missed this season. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. He said that Chris Godwin needs to be a priority. Or somebody said to him, do they go after another wide receiver, barring even re-signing Chris Godwin? I said I believe so, because they're missing the speed factor in that offense. That's why these teams are able to play so much man press on them, because you essentially have multiple wide receivers with the same skill set. Godwin, Evans, Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller has been a man on a milk carton all season, hasn't really played all year, and Johnson is struggling with some drops in the game. Then you have Rashard Perriman that showed up big when speed came into play. Cyril Grayson got hurt when you actually wanted to put expectations on him. You didn't get to see how he played in these last 2 games. So I think speed on that offense is something they really are going to need if you want to beat teams like the Saints, the Rams, and guys like that put their hands on you at the line of scrimmage. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm looking for this team to be able to, yes, they have to sign another receiver to be more dynamic, but I think that this year, year 3 in Bruce Arians' offense is a time for a quarterback to not only understand how defenses will look to take things away, and Tom Brady is, he's probably the best at doing that, but I think the offense predicts where the ball goes. I think you need another running back aside from a Leonard Fournette, because once we start to re-sign players and bring them back and they're scheme specific, we got to look and say, hey, did this team really draft as well as we think this team draft? And if you do, then aside from Joe Tryon-Shoyinka from that draft class, who else is here? You got Hainsley. You lost the D tackle. We lost him to free agency because we couldn't keep him on. So, we kind of leveraged that draft pick. Instead of having McClendon, I would have rather had Khalil Davis here because of the youth in it. Yes, I got a veteran in the size, but I got a quick twitch. And what happened was scheme depicted that, we need another Sue body. A Sue or Veda body, body versus that Grady Jarrett type of Khalil Davis body, which he's bigger. Yeah, that 4-3 lineman. I need more of this twitchy, bigger D tackle 3-4 linemen. And I think that permeates throughout the defensive front for Tampa. Offensively, another weapon, you have Tristan Wirfs. You saw what it was. Great, phenomenal all season, all pro, just oozle talent. But everything else on that line, we didn't speak of Donovan Smith this year as we normally do. And he's gotten beat, yes, but I'd rather not be speaking about him. He is getting paid more than enough to be a top tier tackle. But as we move in the interior, there's been a couple of times, and I know, we praise Ali Marpet about, he's D3 Hobart College. There's a couple of times I've been seeing him getting just rolled up and kind of bowled into the backfield this season. So between him and Alex Kappa, do you need a little bit better talent there? Just overall, they play well, but there's a lot of pieces there for you to start thinking about offensively to really put this team to the next thing. Where did we get stuck this year? Did we get stuck because schematically we couldn't run, or did we get stuck, do you think, guys, because Mike Evans, we can never get rid of him. He is now our Julio. He signed so many friendly team deals that he will retire a Buccaneer. Let's just go out and say that. That means he's going to have the point where he's going to lose his ability to, remember, he developed into a better route runner here in Tampa. He was really just a, Michael Irvin, if you will, just go, I'll throw the ball up and you catch it. Well, once you lose the youthfulness, now you need to become a better route runner because, you won't just be able to out jump everyone. Right. Chris Godwin, how much do you pay him? Once you've already paid Mike, when you start paying everybody starts getting plus 30s and 40s. You can't do that. So Vita's already 73 on his extension, right? So we did something there. We skipped that 5th-year option on Vita, and we went immediately and set a contract for $73 million with him, right? Over the 5, I think. So he's a buck for life. I mean, at 350 plus, I want to say he's 374, but I know they keep yelling he's 350. He looks all kind of 375.
He's eating good.
He's eating good at that. Dude, he's a buck for life too, because linemen of his stature don't particularly last, you know, the 8-year run is their NFL, you know, span of play time. I mean,
and staying healthy is the most important part.
That's it. What do you guys think there? I mean, offensively, so we know some of the losses. We see it. Golston is another one that he's a journeyman here with the Bucks. You know, you love the people. I think as fans, they love fans love to hear the story of this person, you know, came to the team, stayed here, did their whole time. But that's not the NFL. And this year, Golston's on an up year. He's played the best that he's played because the system is the same system that he had at Michigan State. So this is the system that actually, you know, we've talked about for years. He's been sneakily stealing money, you know, even when he got signed. I mean, 2 years ago, Blake, I don't know if you saw this back then, Ruth, but 2 years ago, me and Blake are talking about players who are under contract that are stealing money from the team and kind of just, they're not in the stats. Now, the scheme was a little bit different, right? Because this is the first year they were here. But Golston was one of those players that we were talking about. You know what I'm saying? Where he's on roster, doesn't really seem to be doing that much. Now he definitely showed up. He looks super versatile. He fits here, but does he fit enough that you want to sign him again, or do you go out and find the younger version of him?
But I feel like that was similar to the situation with Donovan Smith as well, where he was kind of in the media's ear last season that he's not stepping up, he's not doing his job, and we saw that transition throughout the season. And during the postseason and the playoffs, he did pretty well, and he wasn't really in the talks for much of that negativity as he was last year. So I think that gave him an opportunity to kind of step up his game. And you know, Bruce Arians had to have that conversation with Leonard Fournette last season, where he sat down and said, if you don't step up, you're going to step out. And that's kind of a situation where I saw our own linemen as well as William Galston kind of improve his game throughout the time there under Brian Leftwich's coaching.
So since we're talking about defensive linemen, I want to put this out there quick. Unless he doesn't retire, I foresee Calais Campbell coming to this roster for a run because he's already familiar with Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians. I just want to throw that out there before we got off defensive line, because Calais Campbell will be a free agent from the Baltimore Ravens at the end of this year. And, you know, Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles like their veterans, along with the mix of look
at you dropping hints.
Well, see, I could see that because I see 2 veterans on our defensive line that I don't anticipate coming back based on the numbers. So, you know, those 2 to me are really JPP. Not at where he's at financially to the team, and also Ndamukong Suh. You know, Ndamukong Suh was good this year. I wouldn't say he was great. Is there a little bit of a drop off? Yes. He is super dependable. So if you don't like Suh just for the player that he is or whatever, he is so dependable. He's never injured. He's playing, but his number is his number, and he's a mercenary at that number. So if you're gonna hire a Merc, you know, I'll take the poor man Suh and a Gerald McCoy. But the problem, I know he would, but
I thought he was supposed to come back this season.
Well, he wanted to. We wouldn't pick him up, so we wouldn't. He was free and available. He would have come back this season. The team didn't pull the trigger on him, and to be honest with you, I believe that has something to do. It also has to do with JPP. And listen, let's be honest. Let's be honest about it. There's a different Tampa Bay team that we're looking at defensively. The energy is different. You know, you guys heard it on the intro. We're ready to row that boat. You know, we're gonna get on that ship. It's a different team. When Gerald was here and he was on the side of the stadium and he was the marquee, you know, player, he was helping. You're Mr. Roethlisberger, I'm helping you up, and Drew Brees, you're my favorite player. No, we ain't on that scene. Now we gremlins now. We just knocking everybody out.
The word of the day, gremlin.
You know, that's it. We're just knocking people down. We don't care. We tough talking. Look, this year you saw Tom Brady this year talking tough. That permeates through the team. That permeates throughout the entire team. You get people having a different attitude, a different swagger of you can't push me around for a long time. And not just talking about 1976 at the beginning. For a long time, Tampa Bay and its fans and just, its players have been pushed around and kind of second thoughts. Now, when you talk it, you could be a proud Tampa fan. Look, I got all kind of Tampa hats and stuff all over because guess what? You can find them now, right? Like, where was this stuff at? Only thing you may find is, creamsicle here, creamsicle. Come on. In the A, I watch people walking around all the time. Like, yo, you a Buccaneer fan? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Buccaneer fan. What are you? Like, just got orange today matching? Yeah, I figured it. But, I mean, we got to think about now the team has a different energy. Now you have a recent Super Bowl. And you know how we talk about teams in NFL, NFL kind of validates teams with how soon from your last Super Bowl are you still relevant? So we're talking about it, Ruth. Right now, this team that we're talking about, Ruth and Blake, you guys let me know. We look at that roster. We bring back 10 of that 22. Even if we only bring back 10, is it still a playoff team in the current NFC South? Do we still make the playoffs in this current NFC South with all the players that are already on the roster?
I'm gonna jump in after you.
If Brady doesn't retire, if you can bring back at least 10 and Brady doesn't retire, no doubt that they would be a playoff team going into next season. I mean, I had them going for 2 this season. I think after the Saints game when Chris Godwin was ruled out for the rest of the season and then AB made his extravagant exit, I kind of feared that would be the point of the time where we could say that maybe we're not going to go to the Super Bowl because at the end of the day, it's all about the team that can put up the most points. And with the defense having such a roller coaster season, they weren't being as dependable. Oh Lord, what is that?
Oh dear God, Ruthie done sparked him up.
I'm telling you.
Is he going super gremlin on us?
Super gremlin.
Man, let's get this Antonio Brown conversation out of the way.
Okay,
So
well, first off, before we start that, let's play this first, and then we're gonna roll with Stephen A on this.
All right, Bucs fans were crushed about Brady and company getting bounced by the Rams, but Antonio Brown was not, as you see from this tweet. Bucs eliminated. It's messy. It's a bit vindictive. And it is pure shade. What's your reaction?
He's petty. He's petty, and it's pretty damn pathetic because he's not looking at himself. He's betrayed Tom Brady with all that Tom Brady did for him and what have you. Now, here's what I'm willing to acknowledge. Rodney Harrison, my brother that works on NBC, does a great job. He said this weeks ago, and other people in Pittsburgh have said this. That hit that he took from Vontaze Burfict in a wild card game in 2016, Antonio Brown, in some people's eyes, has never been the same. He might have some issues because that hit may have done him damage. Oh, you mean CTE? Yes, that hit may have done him damage. That's the only excuse that I can think of. But he comes across as petty, vindictive, and no sense of loyalty whatsoever. No matter what you do for him, the second he gets an opportunity to take a shot at you, he seems to take a shot at people who have extended themselves for him. It's really sad to see this. The only excuse is if that hit has caused some damage that we don't know about. If not, he's just a messed up person.
You had a disagreement with the coach or whatever reason you walked out, but those are still supposed to be, at least you won a Super Bowl with your dudes. Those are your guys. Yeah. I'm not happy to see my guys lose. I'm just never happy to see my guys lose. So, yeah, and that's just, it's just petty.
And he said the reason he left had nothing to do with any type of mental illness. It was just that he was forced to play injured.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't know any better. He wouldn't know any better if he had a mental issue. But the point is that if you're not there, that's nothing to brag about because you left. You quit. Bruce Arians told you to go to the locker room. He tell you to quit the team.
Right.
You did that.
Go ahead, Ruth.
Sad and pathetic. It's the uttermost level of pettiness you could ever reach. I just think he's a walking, talking contradiction. How are you going to post a picture on your Instagram of you and Brady and you say good luck, whatever hashtags he added to that, kumbaya, I don't know, trying to keep the peace. I don't even think I don't even know if Tom Brady's even speaking to
don't
this person
entertain
at this
that.
point. I think he should be just kind of washed your hands at this point in time. But no, it was very predictable. I'm not surprised by it. Am I disgusted by it? I mean, I've been appalled with Antonio Brown for quite some time, but I'm glad that Stephen A. Smith is putting some light on the Vontae Burfict hit that has changed Antonio Brown as a person. I think his close peers, the people have been covering him his whole entire career, know that something might have switched during that time, and he might not want to admit it. I mean, if I was him, I would be blaming it on mental health. And yeah, I do need help. This is a cry for help. So I don't know what angle he's going for, but it's very confusing. And I wish he would stop clout chasing, because at this point,
Lord.
that's all he really doing.
Don't better not be taking all those pills on camera.
Listen,
you ain't.
listen.
What is that?
Oh my God!
Percocets, Molly Percocets.
Those are the good Percocets.
In no way are we telling you to do any type
No,
of drugs
we're not.
unless you're getting. But if you are taking
school
these drugs
kids.
and they are legal, you need to be getting your My Cannabis card from with Guerrilla Marketing. You need to make sure if you're in Florida area, you need to get your My Cannabis card from mycannabis.com. Definitely. But I'm gonna just tell you, Antonio Brown is out here looking like I'm on these mother effing drugs. I be tripping. That's how he look, because you got to think to yourself, listen, this is a bad situation going wrong. If you want to get back in the NFL, which clearly at that says that he doesn't, and no one around him. The problem is when you're falling off and you're going off the deep edge, you usually hang around people that are already off the deep edge as well. And what happens is they don't
Madonna,
you know
Kanye West.
You know what I'm saying? Like those are the people that are normally with you, because they're the ones that are okay with it. Because when you think off the wall, they don't have the same. They have the rational as you, and y'all are all off of it. So
Right.
you can work together. That's why you don't have someone that's on something, just being somewhat different. Let's take it to the other side that Ruth spoke on. Listen. This is a violent game.
Yes.
Each year they try to make the game safer and safer. I've been to many classes and I've sat through hours and hours of training with the Heads Up initiative with the NFL, trying to do training for youth and things like that to get their head out the game. But there's no way that you're going to fully take their head out. I mean, this is a collision sport. And once we just get it in our heads that this is a collision sport, also, not only is it a collision sport, but to have a shoulder that is here hit someone without your head becoming in any contact or getting any jolt is kind of, it's kind of funny to say. Like, we're trying to scheme it out and we can say it 10 times. But to be honest with you, if I run full speed and I try to hit any one of you guys with my shoulder only, my head is going to receive some type of impact. Even if I hit you with only my shoulder, my head still has the impact of the contact that we had. The collision still happens. We're not getting the concussions from, not having the collision. The collisions are happening. We're going to get them. Now, if you tell me, hey, the known, ender of careers, who is Vontae Burfict, the I take your helmet and punt it into the stands, Vontae Burfict, the hitter of all hitters. If you tell me that he hit Antonio Brown and that could have, he could have gave him a realignment, I can tell you, looking at Vontae Burfict, yes, I can believe that to be the case. I can believe that he could hit you in the punishing style that I've seen him hit players, and it could definitely change your mind. Whether that is what happened to Antonio Brown in this situation or not remains to be seen. But his core actions have been, you're at Tom Brady's house, you're with his wife, you're with his family, you're doing that. He's okay. That means he was okay being monitored. Look, when it was Dez Bryant, Dallas had basically a babysitter, an adult babysitter, making sure he didn't get into trouble. Some of these young men and grown men, even though they're making the money and they can play the sport that they play phenomenally, there is some that need and require some more. And listen, we're thinking about him differently because he plays football. If he was some regular gentleman in the street, he probably would already been incarcerated at this point because he would not have the money to take him out of these situations.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. So if it comes from mental health, it could. I mean, mental health is a real deal. It's a real thing. We, now since COVID, I feel like so many more people have begun, looking to seek help with all types of mental illnesses and issues because they became a lot more prevalent with people having to stay home, having to be with family a lot more. You don't get to the escape out of your house or escape on the trains and things and, go places with being forced to be home. So mental health is definitely something that we know it's true. We know it's for real. Can any of us look and say, hey, Antonio Brown, clinically, this is his issue? No. We know clinically he's probably an asshole. We know that. I mean, that we don't need a degree for that one. But I say this, Ruth, definitely was it tasteless? Absolutely. But are we surprised? Just like you're not surprised at him, no. I'm not surprised either. This is who he is. He's if if he knew it was a fake, he'd still eat it. That's just what it is. So I would love to see what we're gonna do. The deal to me is we weren't able to replace him from a Tampa Bay perspective, and that's what's giving him light. Had he won this game, that kind of was shut down.
Yep.
I think a little bit. Now he would say it if we went all the way to the Super Bowl, he would just look like an a-hole. But listen, was he gonna get the rest of his money if he didn't walk out? Yes, he would have got $333,000 just to staying on the sideline the rest of the game. He's just a jerk at that point for doing that.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Rick.
I wanted to ask a question on Antonio Brown, but I wanted your take on it first, Blake, so I could wrap up AB conversation with this question I'm going to throw at you. So go ahead. Let me know what you think about this picture that he posted.
About the picture with him doing side straddle hops around there with the sign up and doing all that craziness.
The Bucks eliminated picture that he posted on his Instagram story.
Okay, as Deshun knows, I drop little tidbits because my ear is to the ground to a lot of things that these guys do. I just don't talk about it too often, but there's some things I could talk about now, and that's clear now. So, okay, with Antonio Brown, I actually played football with the guy that that was his physical trainer while he was here in Tampa Bay, and there's some interesting things that he told me about Antonio Brown. And the first thing he said when he was talking about it was he's not a good person. That was the first thing he said out of his mouth. That he's not a good person at all whatsoever, and described to me some of the conversations that he would have while he was there. I won't say on air. I said, but there were some questionable conversations and stuff about the character of this person. Now, granted, I don't think the Buccaneers or or Bruce Arians or Tom Brady are fools. They just tried to keep this guy in check long enough to win a Super Bowl and possibly go for 2. That's pretty much, you were trying to put a Band-Aid on a big wound, and that little Band-Aid that you tried to put on there just couldn't hold long enough the last 2 seasons here in Tampa Bay, and it just bled all over. So with him doing that doesn't surprise me. Everything after that point is all for attention. He started a rap song, and he just waited for the perfect opportunity to come back out so people would pay him attention again, and that opportunity was the Buccaneers losing. Now, if we're talking about prima donnas, there's something else I'm going to add in here. Would you consider swapping Chris Godwin for OBJ?
No, not at all.
Dang, that's a whoa. Hold on. OBJ, who seems to be kind of, resurfacing into the OBJ that we saw with the New York Giants. He might be on his way to winning a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Would I trade him for Chris Godwin? Absolutely not. Chris Godwin was putting record numbers before he went down with injury. He's been with the Buccaneers for quite 6 seasons, if I'm not correct. He was drafted in 2014. Yeah, so I'd rather stick with Chris Godwin. Yep. I think he suffered a similar injury that OBJ had last season while he was still with the Browns. So we can't really take that into perspective about, he's coming back off injury. OBJ had the same kind of problems. So I like Chris Godwin. I think he's going to be a Buccaneer probably for the rest of his career, especially if he gets a long-term deal figured out with the front office going into next season.
The money will definitely be there, especially with all the list of the numbers. I don't know if you guys got to see the numbers When I say numbers, the contracts of those guys with JPP double digits, Sue just under double digits. So the money is there. It's just what you want to do. Do you want to add OBJ to that wide receiver core? If you do re-sign Chris Godwin, just remember this conversation coming up later, because trust and believe it's going to come up later on with OBJ being a part of this roster. So that's another element of prima donnas coming to the team. But as far as the wrap up, Antonio Brown, good riddance. It's over.
So AB, I don't know. He's talking crazy. He's talking out his neck right now, saying that he's been getting phone calls from multiple NFL teams interested in signing him to their roster. Do you think he's full of himself, or do you think that this could be a real possibility where there's an NFL team that's hurting that bad in their receiver room that they would take a chance on Antonio Brown, who is supposedly injured right now, who might need surgery to repair some type of ligament in his ankle? I don't really know. It's so confusing with him because he's over there doing all these fancy dances on his Instagram Live, and Jenna Lane did a quick screenshot video of that, and she was like, well, it looks like he's utilizing his free time for recovery. So great one, Jenna Lane. I like that.
She got him good. That is pretty good. A guy who's supposed to be in so much pain has yet to go get a surgery, and is doing all these things on camera, hanging out with Kanye West, whatever. What you do in your spare time is your business, but just don't play up like you're just this dismantled person, but you're caught on multiple videos and photos doing elsewhere. And if there is a team that's calling him, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, being how they're taking a good look at Byron Leftwich coming over there, the head coaching job. He had already coached with them. I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of them. The New York Jets are a team that's going to need a wideout, something like that. But if you want to really deal with that after what you just saw out there, God bless you.
Yeah, I can only think that I could see. We got to think of this. Remember, the NFL is a business. There's always teams willing to kick tires, and they just are judging. Sometimes they're calling players just to judge market value. You know what I'm saying, of another player. They may call the next three players in concession just to see, okay, if he's at this number, then this person is at that number. They're just putting numbers together. But I mean, we looked around the NFL right now. A lot of teams would not want him as a player just because he seems to be a little bit cancerous from a locker room perspective. And teams, prima donna receivers tend to get a bad rap on that, but then it turns into be, your value versus what you're going to do. With him exploding on a team like that and seemingly hurting the Buccaneers, coaches are very leery. Front offices are very leery to bring a player in that has the potential to do something like that. This is something, we've had players not play before and not known about it, and no one said why they didn't play or what's happened. We've had players not even dress because of their own. Remember, Deshaun Jackson was here in Tampa. He's historically done most of his training at the high school in California at like Crenshaw High School, running track or whatever. And then he arrives when he arrives, Now he's always been in, good condition and so on and so forth. These are professionals, and how they feed their family is all about how they take care of their body, right? So we can sell that, and he can sell that any day he wants. But at the end of the day, I don't think that teams or anybody in the front office, I sure know as a pundit or a fan, to see him do that, it didn't matter if he was on Tampa's team or not. To me, Ruth, if you saw him do that, would you want him on your team? And if you got him on your team, it's like, yeah, he's great, but, and that's just too many buts for me. And look at the age that we're talking about, right? The numbers in the years are still growing for him. And he's still continuing to get little injury. He still does have the step. Great for him. I wish him all the best in anything that he does, but I'm done with AB for this season. Let's talk about him in 2023.
Or hopefully don't talk about him ever, because I don't want to see him return to the NFL. I don't want to see him get another shot. I think 4 different teams is good enough. I I think he's in a very toxic relationship with the NFL. It's like that ex-boyfriend that always comes back when they should just put a restraining order and be done with it. I think the NFL needs to file a restraining order on AB.
Restraining orders.
Definitely. Listen, but
Brian
hey,
Benson.
guys, let me ask you this. I mean, we've been on the Buccaneers. Obviously, that was a loss. Tough game. Way to come back. Way to fight for it, guys. Defense definitely looked pretty good. But let's go over some of the other games here. I mean, we've been on for a while, and we still haven't touched some of those other games. I mean, look, we did a pre to this game, and somebody said that the Bills was going to win that KC Bills game. I don't remember who that was. You're probably going to have to go back to the tape.
I'm not going to lie. All my picks for this weekend fell through. I was 0 for 4 on my NFL picks for the weekend. I'm embarrassed to say that. I'm really embarrassed to say that. I had all my trust in Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Gabriel Davis crushing records with 4 touchdowns. I mean, he had like 8 receptions for 200 yards. He used to play for the UCF Knights, so I covered him for a couple seasons. So it was extraordinary to see that young man be able to take off the way he did. But man, I think Patrick Mahomes literally went to a different level. Like, he's Super Saiyan further than we've ever seen him. Like, Kamehameha all the way. Like, it was insane. It was a really exciting game to watch. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. When I saw him tie things up at the end, I knew as soon as overtime was announced that whoever was going to win that coin flip was going to win that game. And I know a lot of people have been talking back and forth, oh, they should change this OT rule and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, great game. Josh Allen, I really wanted to see you in a Super Bowl. I know coming back against the Kansas City Chiefs was important to him because that's where he faltered last season in the AFC Championship game. So I was pulling through for the Bills, but I'm bad luck. So I'm not doing any more picks because it seems like whoever I pick, the opposite team wins.
Man,
so.
you just end that with nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills.
Listen, exactly
in that wagon.
And look, remember, Blake, when we were talking about this before the game, we were talking about them circling the wagons and Bills Mafia and things of that nature. And I mean, it really just came down. I think if you can go back to the clip, what I said exactly was, to me, the Buffalo Bills are a younger or youthful version of the Kansas City Chiefs. People have figured out what the Kansas City Chiefs do and do well. And at this point, they figured out how to stop it. Once somebody does that, you as the team that they figured out have to then reinvent yourself and start, finding new ways. The Chiefs have already done that. The Bills haven't gotten to that point yet because only a few teams have been able to figure out what they do and stop them. So they haven't needed to evolve. But I think we're talking about Josh Allen, and all praises to him. Dude, he's got the story, he's still a phenomenal story. If he was somebody that was, just from a player perspective, he's kind of like the down and out. He's someone, Blake, that his story says to me, he's probably signed to Agency One Sports Group. Shout out to Ron Barley, Agency One Sports Group, friend of the show.
Yeah, get Ruth on there with him one time.
Yeah, for sure. Ron always has these players that are kind of like, they had this such a hard way to go, and no one really knew that they were going to make it. And they come from even people like Devontae David, JPP, all these players. They went to JUCOs, they came back. Some people don't survive that JUCO run to get back to a major.
Let's see if Ruth know that. Speaking of JUCO, Ruth, did you know that at one point in history that Levante David and Jason Pierre-Paul were teammates?
Yes, I did hear that.
Yeah, they were teammates, JUCO college together. I cannot remember the name. I know we looked it up when we had Ron on there, but they were teammates together one time.
Yeah,
yes, I did hear that.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, it's just, I think, a phenomenal thing when you can have a player like a Josh Allen come, not really recruited, no offers. He goes to JUCO.
No offers. His dad had to send his highlight tapes to all these. Like, everybody didn't want him.
Dude, and then writes letters, even after coming out of JUCO and doing well in JUCO, still has to write letters. Only Wyoming takes him, and he's now constantly 2 years in a row. You know how many 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2 stars were in front of him? It is not where they rate you at it's what you do on the field. And Josh Allen, to me, he's shown that. I think that Buffalo Bills team, obviously, they're true. They've been back to it again. And that defense just continues to get better. They're really looking like the Buffalo Bills of old when it was the K-Gun offense with Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, Cornelius Bennett, Andre Reed, all those guys, just phenomenal players there on both sides of the ball, and they're built to last. And if you have to go to Buffalo and play at this time of the year, if they the record says they're a team that could go into a Lambeau and win, because the cold weather doesn't, there's nothing about cold in Buffalo. It's cold as hell over there, so they can, and then they can, because they're air raid really offense is, we can throw the ball as well. So I like what I saw out of that team. I did pick KC to win. They did take that game and win. So those games, just all the games that we saw this weekend, San Fran game, did you guys foresee what was happening? Did you see that? Did you know? The memes were out. It was just,
oh man, and the whole Aaron Rodgers conversation on whether or not he's going to be returning as a Packer next season. If you guys heard his post conference after following the game against San Francisco, he did not sound like a happy camper. Aaron Rodgers always seems to point the finger to everybody else except himself, and I really don't think that's going to work out. And I don't know. Do you see Aaron Rodgers returning as the starting quarterback for the Packers next season? Or is it time for them to move on?
Listen, Blake, you tell me, what do you think, Blake? I'm going to let you jump on this one, Blake. What are you thinking?
There's only a couple options I see for Aaron Rodgers. One is if Tom Brady decides to retire,
that he's going to come to Tampa. Why is everybody saying this? What is going on? Is this become like a retirement state? Well, obviously the state of Florida.
It is.
So Aaron Rodgers like, let me get out of Lambeau and go chill in Tampa because Brady left and I can fill in those shoes. Like,
I'll just take
that would be nice. That would be a great move for the organization. Just keep bringing in these veterans that know how to win Super Bowls. Like, why not?
The reason I say that is because of what Aaron has said in interviews. He said it himself. He said, I know we can't attract free agents here, being how this is Wisconsin. We play here and it's cold and there's no beaches and none of that. He said, unlike when you go to Florida, you have all these amenities that you can go to and things like that. And it attracts people to go there. When he said that live in the interview, I said, and I said, I knew he was coming up before before he got the extension. I thought the Green Bay Packers would have released him because they had no dead cap at that time. They would have been able to release Aaron Rodgers without any backlash as far as finances. The only other option besides that is him going back to California. Jimmy Garoppolo situation out there. Trey Lance actually having a veteran to learn from, a good veteran to learn from. Well, Jimmy's been okay, but you can learn from Aaron Rodgers and things like that. But we'll see what happens. I don't think Green Bay gets rid of him only because of market value and what he puts butts in seats.
Yeah,
that's a key thing for me. And listen, the basic thing, this is still football. That's still Green Bay. And what do we know? I've seen this before. Is this a remake? Did Scream come out this past week? Did Scream come out? Did everybody run to the movie theaters because a movie came out? Because I think I saw the same movie in Green Bay when it was Brett Favre. The quarterback is always mad. He's always going to leave. He's always throwing down the potato chips in the potato chip aisle and stomping his feet, and he's going to go somewhere. And lo and behold, at some point he will, but it's usually year after year after year of I'm unhappy and it's someone else's fault. Exact same story as it was with Brett Favre. Brett Favre just chose to leave too late. When he went to other places, he just didn't have enough. And it wasn't until after he left that he realized that they built the pieces around you.
Yep.
And the other places have maybe a piece, but they don't have everything you need. And it ultimately doesn't work out for the quarterback, and it doesn't work out for the team as well. Luckily for them, the replacement's already there. And wait a minute, is the replacement already there in Green Bay? Yes.
What, are we talking Jordan Love right now?
I'm just saying, this is Green Bay.
I don't really think.
Listen, we didn't think Aaron Rodgers was Aaron Rodgers until Brett Favre left either.
I don't think they're getting enough out of Jordan Love, in practice to really believe that he could fill in the shoes for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he had a really I wouldn't say a poor performance, but that one game that Aaron Rodgers was out because of his COVID immunized, whatever you want to call it, when he played against the Chiefs, he kind of held his own for like a split second. And there was a little bit of, oh, maybe. And then he would just kind of do something where it's like, all right, he's not ready. He's not ready. So I don't know if Green Bay is going to lean on a Jordan Love. I think they would have to either draft, which is going to put a lot of pressure on a rookie quarterback, or they're going to be looking for a veteran that's looking to move.
Hey, Ruth, I'll tell you this. Green Bay always has the quarterback in the stable. They are a team that already has him every time. Their last quarter, Favre was already in the stable for Green Bay. Let's go back to history. I'm just going to do history now. Favre was already in the stable. Rodgers was in the stable. Love was in the stable. And I'll tell you this. Here's one thing that I know from coaching a lot of quarterbacks over the years and players that you bring up. Listen, I put a player in the game. That player knows he's not the starter. My starter, for whatever reason, can't play this game. That player is, they say, I don't even know if I could say this, but they're pooping bricks because they know if they mess up, the whole team's going to be, it's their fault. They're not comfortable. They don't have the reins. If you want to ride this horse, you need the reins. You need both reins. Somebody can't walk beside you and hit the reins for you. That's not you're not getting the response. I can tell you how to drive, but you won't know the feeling until you get behind that joker and you hit that push button and you put it in gear and you'll ease off that clutch and you start going. But it's when you feel it yourself, that's when you know, oh, you can do it. So I don't think as long as the training wheels are on, we really can't see who a quarterback is. But I will say that historically, and we'll just go by history, right? Historically, Green Bay always has the quarterback in the stable.
Are you sure
this
about
is not
that?
a Tom Brady fine.
Are you sure about that? You're missing a quarterback in that quarterback conversation. I can't believe you skipped that one. That was a big.
Maybe we strategically skip people that we don't want to listen. As we make an argument, Blake,
Matt
I
Flynn,
want to leave out people that don't fit. I can't
Matt
leave
Flynn?
out people that don't fit. But you get what I'm saying. You get the gist.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know. I believe that Aaron Rodgers we've had this for too many off seasons, is what I'm saying. If he's gonna leave, it's time to go. And look, I'm all for the hair, the horn mustache. He was dancing with he did doing the Pooh Shiesty video for Halloween and all that stuff. I'm for all of the shenanigans. I'm for when he comes over there and you guys can't stop me. I own you with the discount double check. Yeah. I'm for it, dude. That's exciting. I want to be able to talk about quarterbacks aside from Cam Newton doing the whole dress up thing. Sometimes he throws me off with that, like it's the Kentucky Derby every week. But I'm very happy to talk about Aaron Rodgers, and he's exciting. And guess what? If he makes his way down to Tampa,
oh Lord,
he's a different dynamic than a Tom Brady, which is a perennial pocket quarterback, with him still having the ability to be mobile. Oh my gosh!
And if he brings Devontae Adams with him to Tampa, because you already know
to bring anyone that he doesn't have to, because there's a host of weapons here.
Yeah, don't really need to.
I don't think that you need to bring, but like this is the thing with me. We're talking about perennial quarterback here. You got Tom Brady. Then you were talking about Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about the upper echelon in the NFL. And if you're not a big dog, you got to stay on the porch. People always say that. So if it's Love and he goes in and he knows that Aaron Rodgers, he just got to just go in there and just do the littlest thing, because this is not my team. This is not my guys. I can't change something, but when you're the one, you're the one, you can go out here, you can run situation. And if he comes down to Tampa, the only thing I could think is Tom Brady retires. Who else does anyone else want to play for? You come down to Tampa, you're getting better tax, you're getting the weather, you're getting the babes, you're getting the housing,
marketing.
You get everything here in Tampa. So if he comes down, and dude, he's been freezing his butthole off the whole time there. He doesn't want to be in Wisconsin. Now, granted, he's going to do the same thing that Favre did. He's going to do, he'll make his way around and, he'll go back and he'll end as a Packer. He'll do a one-day contract when it comes down to it. Yeah. But, I mean, for winning right now, that team, these teams have lifespans. And I think actually in Green Bay, they've done a great job, extending the lifespan of that team year after year. Hopefully we can see Tampa do it. Many teams are just not able to do it. Kansas City is another team that this year and over the last couple of years with Andy Reid at the helm, they've been able to extend the lifeblood of the team. They bring new talent in, they're seemingly the same pieces, and they're able to extend it. What do you guys see going forward? Where's the picks for this week coming up? What do you guys have?
What you got, Ruth?
So, as far as, are we still talking about that quarterback position? Who are we bringing down?
Oh no, I just want to know the picks right now. I'm not going to pontificate.
Oh, our picks
we're going to have so much time, Ruth, to talk about who's going to come to Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. If anything,
are we talking about our picks for next game?
Yeah. Who you got next game?
Okay, so Cincinnati and Kansas City. I think that's going to be a great AFC championship matchup. I would love to see Joe Burrow get it done, but I mean, the way Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill are playing right now offensively, it's going to be really hard to outscore the Kansas City Chiefs. So as crazy as it is, I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to go to their third Super Bowl in a row? Is it third Super Bowl in a row, which is an outstanding start for a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. And I mean, if they really go back to the Super Bowl and possibly win, then he could probably be in that conversation of possibly catching up to Brady by the end of his career. Who knows?
You got to ride that ride while it's available, and right now,
he has
to.
And for the San Francisco and the Rams, as much as Jimmy G has been putting in the work to just do enough to help his team win, I think that they're going to come to a halt against the Los Angeles Rams, the way that they're playing offensively and defensively with the pressure that they put on the quarterback. So I have the Rams and the Chiefs going into a Super Bowl matchup, which is something that I spoke about in the beginning of the season when the Rams made that move for Matthew Stafford. I was like, this could possibly be a Super Bowl team, because I really think the one of the biggest issues the Rams had was Jared Goff and his inability to take care of the ball. So you eliminate that problem and you plug in a great quarterback like Matthew Stafford. That's kind of what we saw in Tampa, where they had the offense, they had the defense, they just had a quarterback that turned the ball over 30 times in one season. So you take out that problem, you plug in someone like Tom Brady, you get a Super Bowl ring. So yeah, Rams and Chiefs.
Let's go, Ruth. That was it. Hey, hold on, Blake. Let me just.
I don't even think I answered your question, but
Blake, wait. Look, I'm just stoked about the homage. I don't even know if you knew you did it, Ruth. The homage to Torrey Holt as she clearly picked the Rams to win, and she said I halted it right there, and I could only think Torrey Holt from that time when it was Holt and Isaac Bruce and the greatest show on turf. That Rams team. I mean, wow! I could see a Rams KC, Super Bowl, but when you just, Ruth just speaking about, hey, just plugging in a quarterback. This is not Detroit. He's out here. Stafford's out here playing really well. Yep. And sometimes a quarterback can get pigeonholed by the team that signed him, that drafted him, and we're thinking he's so bad. It's really the team around him.
Mm-hmm.
So that I just think you hit it on the head there. I can only think I didn't see enough out of the San Francisco team from the quarterback perspective to think that Jimmy G is going to do enough to keep them out of trouble. He tried to give that game away. Special teams won that game. I do believe that they play in all facets of the game. That is the amazing part about them. They played all three phases, and that's what won that game for them. He definitely pretty much would have given that game away. And then when you get later into the thick of the playoffs, some of the trickery and the tomfoolery, it just doesn't pan out like it did earlier. The Rams can still line up and beat you doing what they do. I think that Rams team is tough, so I would pick the Rams. And I think also for Kansas City, I mean, we're talking about a veteran coach in Andy Reid. They've been there so long right now. start talking about how great Patrick Mahomes could be in his future, I don't know that I would just yet. It is very early in his career. It is going to be so difficult for him to continue to have success over time because he's so high at the beginning. It's almost like watching a child star right now. I mean, he's so young in his career, but name a child star that you know that's great now as an adult star. This is very minimal, if any,
Very small.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wish him all the best. It's great to see. It makes for great football right now. He's doing some amazing things, and I mean, I'm watching passes that are not even they're baseball passes.
Right.
That
Can we
he's
talk
making.
about how efficient Kansas City got it done with only 13 seconds left on the clock? They were able to get down the field to tie up the game, and the Dallas Cowboys can't get 2 plays off the ground in 14 seconds.
Listen, well, I know who their head coach is. Come on, I mean, Andy Reid's done this in so many other games with different quarterbacks. So he can definitely coach that, right? You got to have players to play, coaches got to coach, and I usually tell players, hey, players don't lose games, coaches do, right? Yep. But in the NFL, coaches get paid to win games. So guess what? They got to come out there and win those games. I just think that phenomenal game overall out of all games that I've seen this weekend, but I could definitely see it shaping up, Ruth. I got KC, and I also got the Rams in the Super Bowl, because any team that beat this Tampa Bay team definitely deserves to be in the big game.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way they were able to, hold their poise together when you have Tom Brady on the other side. I mean, they played like straight veterans, and they deserved to win that game because the Buccaneers decided to start playing in the fourth quarter, and it was a little too late. If they would have played that way throughout the first half, they wouldn't have been fighting back the way they had to. But I'm really excited to see that rematch between San Francisco and the Rams, because everyone was blaming Matthew Stafford in that overtime loss to San Francisco at the end of the season. So I think it worked out perfectly, almost like a storytell ending for them to meet in the NFC Championship game.
Yep. Awesome. I think it's going to be awesome game. I'm also.
Uh-oh. I know, right? He's doing the robot.
Pretend like he froze.
He did to the Pro Bowl, or do the whole Pro Bowl festivities around. Waiting to kind of see that, so that'll be interesting as well. But I mean, for me, it's been a great season to watch these guys, watch this team, and the rest of the playoffs right now definitely going to be exciting. And I'm looking for this level of football right now that the NFL is putting out. Woo, top quality Super Bowl show, halftime show is supposed to be big. A lot of stars out there coming out to it. So I'm pretty stoked for the rest of the season. How about you guys?
I'm a little sad because that means the Super Bowl is just around the corner, and I always get mad depressed after the Super Bowl because it's just like, dang, we gotta wait till OTAs and like training camp. Like it's just too long of a wait for the start of the season. But I'm excited to see that we have a strong 2 teams that are representing the NFC right now, and I hope I think the Rams have a better chance in winning in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City or the Bengals than San Francisco. But that's just my opinion. But let's talk about that Bengals Titans game. Ryan Tannehill, you can't throw 3 picks in a playoff game and expect to win. As much as the Bengals have been thorough and powering through these playoffs, I really think they got an easy one against the Titans. I was hoping that Derrick Henry, number 22, would come back with more, more oomph, since he's been well rested since being out almost the entire season. I think he was out since like early October.
Right.
But I was a little disappointed with that Titans game. The Cincinnati was able to walk away. What was it, 19-16, the ending score? So pretty low scoring game, especially the first half. It didn't seem like any of the offenses could get their run game going or get their pass game going, for that being said. But yeah, the Titans, the number 1 seed in the AFC, took a bad fall against Cincinnati, who has been proving themselves as a legitimate Super Bowl team.
Yeah, they definitely crapped the bed, having a bye week, getting Derrick Henry back. They had all the momentum coming into this game and just literally took a crap in the game. Started. I mean, how bad. I mean, how are you going to start off the game so poorly with your first pass is intercepted on trying
Very
to throw a
first
screen
pass,
play?
like not even kidding, like very first pass.
And then you think you can't beat that. We start the second half, and you do the same exact thing. You throw a pick with your first pass in the second half. So you
Yeah,
doubled
it
up.
started looking like Miami Tannehill. I was like, what the heck is going on?
I mean, it's still a surpriser to me every time I watch Tannehill play because Tannehill was a 5-star recruit to 5 or 4-star recruit to Texas A&M as a wide receiver, and then switched to quarterback, and then came out in the draft demanding what kind of contracts and all this thing, like he was going to be the next best thing since sliced bread. Coming out there, didn't work out. Miami worked out well, and Tennessee with the play action run game, Derrick Henry, they definitely formulated their offense to fit his skill set. But Tannehill does find ways to put his teams in hurtful situations with the way he does on the ball, especially that play, at the end of the game, trying to force that ball with 3 defenders around. Unfortunately, it was tipped up in the air and not to the ground and got intercepted. And ultimately, that was the doom to your season. Bengals went down and kicked the game winner with a rookie kicker and finished you off.
Yeah. And the confidence that we saw in Cincinnati as well. Like Joe Thorough talked about McPherson and how he said as soon as he knew that it was going to come down to a field goal, he turned to his teammates and said, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship, guys. So he put a lot of weight on his shoulders, but I love the confidence with the Cincinnati Bengals right now. They're a young and hungry team. And even if they do not defeat the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to be a legitimate Super Bowl team with years to come with that amazing 3-headed monster with Joe Thorough, with Joe Mixon, and of course Jamar Chase is going to be a 3-headed monster for time to come. I'm excited for the Bengals. They've been hurting for quite some time. Isn't it like 30 years or something? Like 1984, 31 years since they've been pretty like on top of their game. So I'm glad to see the tides turning for them.
I'm going to go. I know you guys picked those two to go to the Super Bowl. I would like to see the San Francisco and Cincinnati Bengals going to the Super Bowl, revamping the 1989 Super Bowl with Joe Montana and Boomer Esiason. There was much controversy between those two teams because your head coach or offensive coordinator with Cincinnati comes over and runs the same scheme and game plan over to San Francisco. And we're talking about the West Coast offense, bringing that from Cincinnati over to San Francisco. And then crazily that the two teams end up playing each other in the Super Bowl. And we know the end of that, San Francisco ended up pulling the Super Bowl with Joe Montana driving a 80-plus yard drive to win that game against Cincinnati in that Super Bowl. So it'll be interesting to see that. I'm sure if that happens, this data's going to be brought up in a talk.
Yeah, for sure.
I know Deshun dropped out. I know he had some connection issues with the audio, but he'll be back. But we'll keep rolling. So with the Super Bowl coming up, I know you guys didn't mention. I remember what I wanted to say. This will be, not only was it the first time that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won a Super Bowl in their stadium last year, the Rams have the opportunity to do that, be the second team to do that.
Oh, I cannot believe I did not even think about that. Yes,
they were hosting
Super Bowl 56 in SoFi.
Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people didn't mention that. Yeah, Rams would be the second team to do that in back-to-back years, a team playing in the Super Bowl while they're hosting it. And ironically, it's funny that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played that game in Tampa and won it because it was supposed to be in LA last year because their stadium was not completed. It's crazy how things turn out, isn't it?
That's true. That is a little bit of a coincidence. Yeah, I think that gives them even more encouragement to, kind of want to bump the Buccaneers away from being the only team to ever do so. Mm-hmm. So that might be something that's being a little more enticing for their offense to kind of rip San Francisco and their defense a new one going into this NFC Championship game. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be some slobber knockers coming out there. Yeah, some slobber knockers coming out.
Where do you find these terms?
Hey, I just try to keep up with Deshun. He comes up with them because, the term for the day is gremlins. I'm going to make sure to post that on the social media right after this. The gremlins are out.
The gremlins are out full force.
The gremlins are out full force. Don't pour water on them and don't feed them after midnight. You should be all right, so don't do that.
It's like stray cats. You don't feed stray cats because then they'll never stop coming back.
That's Antonio Brown with the ex-boyfriend and restraining order and things like that. So,
Roger Goodell, I think you should closely consider this because it might solve a lot of problems and a lot of heartaches in the future.
Yep. Definitely will. Ruth, I'm gonna get you out of here. You want to plug in where they can find you and all your work and stuff? Like, you got a show coming up later. You want people to tune in and watch that?
Yes, on the ASAP network, All Sports, All Plays. We start our show at 7 p.m. It's me and 2 other female co-hosts. They're both from Texas. So one's a huge Kansas City fan. And the other one, I believe, I actually don't even know because she's so unbiased when it comes to football talk, which I actually like that. But yeah, check out our show. We're going live at 7 o'clock on the ASAP network. I'm also doing the Tom Gronkowski show every Wednesday at 9 o'clock live with Coach Jay Morgan. Stay tuned to the Beauty and the Cleats Instagram and Twitter page. Follow me on Twitter at Ruth the Truth with 4 H's at the end. I'll give you a follow back. And yeah, let's enjoy this last couple weeks of NFL football.
Absolutely. With the Pro Bowl coming up, we'll talk about that as well. So, Ruth, I appreciate you having you. We're going to get on, see what we talk about next week after this game, get you on here, see if we can get Ron on here, and we all just sit up here and talk football.
Let's do it. Talk to you soon.
Yep. See you soon. I'm Blake Anthony. This is Ruth the Truth, signing out. Peace.
Rematch in the NFC on Sunday.
Rams and Buccaneers, the NFL Divisional Round.
It's a total different team. It's like a new season.
They were going to have to see each other. They were going to determine each other's playoff fate. And somebody's going to make someone go home.
The question is, has Tom Brady won his last Super Bowl? The answer is absolutely not.
We talked in the locker room. We put that Bucs helmet on. There's a level of expectation.
We're a little different team now than we were at the beginning of the year.
You know, postseason's a whole different ball game. They beat us the first time. I want to beat them bad the second time.
You have to earn it. You got to go win and move on.
So let's get it on.
Hats off to our fans, the crew. They're going to be loud. They're going to be proud. There's going to be another football atmosphere this Sunday.
Intercepted. Bucs win. Bucs win. Bucs win.